Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world of Wayne. Today I'm going to be doing pack 3 of the Agora models release and build the SAS Jeep Willys. So if you remember last time on pack 2 we are starting the chassis and we are putting the leaf springs in. I did say I had an issue with this one here. I hadn't actually put the screws all the way through. It actually connects all the way through the bottom there, and it is held in place there. So it's these areas here that are free, but in my last video this wasn't attached. As you can see, these are both now attached into place. This actually sits just like that, but that is how that's looking. Now, if you look at this box, it's a really tiny box. It's actually got through my letterbox, so I don't know what we're actually doing today. If you do want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and you also have the QR code on the screen there, which shows you all the models I'm building, my merch store, my Amazon store. Everything you need is in that QR code there. Also, if you want to see a finished Jeep Willys, then the Telford Scale Model World show, and I'll link that at the end of the video as well. I actually filmed the Agora model stand, and they have one there. It looks absolutely amazing. Anyway, let's get on with this. Without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, let's open this up. I've got no idea what's in it. It looks tiny. Ah, it's fiddly parts. We got fiddly bits. Look at this. Lots of metal fiddly bits though, because they're all really heavy. Let's push them all the way to the back. And this is the front axle, which you can tell, look at that, all metal. Put this to one side. And I'm going to be bringing over what we've been working on this chassis. So first thing I need is this part here, and that's going to be going between these 2 points here and here. And what I want to do is put a HM screw just through the hole here. Big long coloured screw, this one. Now that screw should just fall out the bottom there. It's only fitting in there loosely at the moment, as you can see. I'm then going to be taking this massive axle here, and this is going to be going underneath, but it's going to also attach to the bottom side of the screw that we can now see through there. And I'm going to screw that into place. I'm going to try and get away with using my PH1 screwdriver here. Oh, that's good. That's gone in good. I am going to put this in oil though. I should have really done that, just to help get that nice and tight. Perfect. And then on the other side, rather than have a full unit like that, we do have just this section here to put on. And this is actually going to be going on this way, just like this. And again, we're going to be putting one of these screws all the way through and attaching this to the underside here and getting that screwed in. All I want to do then is open these CM screws here, and I'm going to be attaching this to the top bracket here, which does mean just pushing this into position. I'm just looking at this. I think I might have these the wrong way round. They're going in, which means they're far too narrow by the look of it, which means I've got these the wrong way round. Won't be a problem to fit it, but I don't know if you can see on the camera. If we turn this around, I make mistakes so you don't have to, then this is going to fit in a lot better. So I'll do the same on both sides. There you go, that's going to go in lovely. So CM screws just through each side here, and then just one on the other side here. So turning it over, I've got these braces now to put into place, and they're going to be going onto the underside here. So I've got 2 holes just here. Hopefully you might be able to see this on the camera. So these are going to come up through the top, and they're coming up through the hole just here. And do the same on the other side. And then they've got ones on the outside just to go in. So there is actually 2 each side that we're putting in. Perfect. So they're all in there. They're coming up through the bottom, as you can see there. Just have one fall out. I actually think gravity holds these in, but they are all in quite tight in there, and that is all there is to do in that stage. In stage 15, we're going to start to build the differential here. Big, heavy parts again. And the first thing I need is to cut some parts just from the sprue. In fact, I just need this cap here. So get my sprue cutters. And I'm just going to cut this off. Bring over this casing for the differential, and I'm going to be pushing this cap into here just like that. Now it is a little bit loose in there. Too loose for my liking, so I am just going to drop a tiniest bit of glue on this detail. And now there's no chance of that going anywhere. I do have another cap here to cut off. This one's going into the metal detail on the top. This one's a lot more friction. That's not coming out, so that's not going to need glue. Put that to one side and bring the chassis back over, because I'm going to be wanting to put this underneath here, just onto this section there. Again, hopefully you can see that on the top camera. I'm holding that in with 2 cm screws. So this is the second screw going in here. There we go, that's fixed into place. Then I've got this drive shaft here, and this is basically going to be going into the end here, and it's going to be sitting just on top there. I love that. I love the detail. I'm then going to be taking this part of the casing, which is going to go on the back here, and sit over the top this way round. You can see that. And then finally, I think you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to be putting its top on, looking like that. Let's put it under, let it sit on top there. Perfect. Holding that in with 2 FM screws, which I've got here. And that'll keep this as one piece. Final screw just going in here. Make sure it's tight. Perfect. That's all there is to do in that stage. Now I'm going to give you some advice here. This is nothing to do with this build, but you see you get spare screws here. You see this one's extra long. These sort of screws, which are metal screws along, are invaluable for doing 1/8 vehicles. If you're having problems pushing cars together when it comes time to put bodywork to chassis, this is brilliant for actually helping push it through. Because it's oversized, it'll actually help close it up so you can get the proper screws in, then take that out and replace it with proper screws. I always keep these screws. Okay, in stage 16, we're going to be doing the first shock absorber. Got that here. This is the front shock absorber, should I say. Don't want my springs to be going anywhere. Put that to one side while I bring over the chassis again. And I'm going to want it this way round. Okay, the shock casing is going to be going on here, like this. It's going to be held in with a PM screw. And I actually want it, it's got 2 different sides on it. I want it with the larger side, the larger opening facing up. So this screw is going to be ingressed in here. Take one of the springs and just drop that in there. Put the shaft of this shock absorber in here, which is now going to be springy because of that spring. And I'm going to be attaching that just to this top point here on top of the leaf spring brace, as you can see. It's going to be held in with an FM screw. So I'll get that in there. And then what I've done on one side, I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So once again, just load this screw up, take part of this shock absorber here, make sure that's in the right way. It's going to go in there, being secured in with the PM screw. And then once again, drop a spring in there, put the top of the shock in, and then with an FM screw, I'm going to attach that to the top here. And it actually goes again this way round, so it can fit flush in there. Hopefully you can see that. It's trying to spin me off. That would almost change the accident board, I'm sure. There you go, that's in. So we do have this detail here, which looks like some sort of water bottle or something, I don't know, but we don't actually use that in this stage. In stage 17, look, we've got some really fiddly parts now because we are working on the steering system. Get these out. And one of these has already been made for us, as you can see. It's all encased with a worm gear in there. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting 2 parts together here. So this is the gear which is going to interact with that worm gear, so it's coming up through the top just like that. So then I'm putting this in this way round, so this is going to be going in there. It is shaped, and you know you've got it in the right way because it's going to sit flush in there. Then I've got one of these flanged, what screw is this? A JM screw. I already have put oil on this. That's going to go in there like this. So now that's going to stop the part we just put in coming out. So just ensure this turns, which it does. I'm trying to figure out which side this goes into on this part here. Now I'm going to do this slightly different when I'm attaching everything. We're now meant to attach this, but I want to attach this one first so I can ensure I get everything in the right way. So basically what they want is this piece here first is going to be going into this side, so that we've got this part here facing down, this little notch there facing down under there. I'm holding this in with a DM screw. So I've got that here, and I'm going to screw that in from the top. That'll keep that into place. Then that is going to ensure that I put this side in the right way, and this one's going to be going in from this side here, and that's held in with an IM screw, which I've already loaded up. And it's saying don't over tighten this, so I won't over tighten it. But there we go, that's in place like that. What I'm going to do is this hole at the top of this section here, I'm going to be lining up with the hole at the top of this plate on the side here like that. It's going to be held in with a DM screw. And once again, got them here, and get that one into place. And then I've got two DM screws to put in to the two holes below, but it goes in from this side. So it's just a case of lining them up to those holes and getting them through the top here. Just like that. So there's one there, and I'll just put one on the other side. Okay, that's perfect. Now this section here, I want to be pushing down here. It's going to be fitting onto that center hole there. We're going to put a flange screw in there, which is a KM screw, just through the top. So that's looking really good. Put that just to one side, and I've got these two little sections to put together, which actually link by two lugs and two holes, so I can push them together to make one piece here. And we don't actually do anything with that, so don't lose it. It's a small part. That's what there is to do in that stage. In stage 18, I'm doing the front wheel hubs. Get them out. And again, I'm trying to identify which side's what. So the larger hole needs to be on my right hand side here. Okay, that's good. Let's bring this chassis over. We've got two that look the same. So it's the short one I actually want. So the larger hole on the short one needs to be on my right. Look, there's a long one and a short one. That one is going to go under the bottom here, and it's going to attach to this bone looking thing that I've got here. Now I'm holding that in with an IM screw. I need to make sure these little notches on the bottom are facing down. So that's just going to go in here. Again, this needs to be tight, but it doesn't need to be over tightened. So we've got one in there, and then I've got the long one here. So I want the larger hole this way round, which is going to go into the other side here. Once again, that's held in with an IM screw. Making sure these notch parts at the bottom again are facing down, and screw that in as well. Now these hubs, they are stamped. So I've got a left and a right. And also these arms here are stamped left and right, I believe. No, we just need to look at them ourselves. So if I'm holding them like that, they're pointing inwards. This is my left, this is my right. So I'm working on the left one first, which is going to go into the hole just on the inside of this hub here. Like that. I'm going to be putting this onto the left-hand side of the car. So it's actually going to go over the knuckle here, just like that. and I'm holding it in with an screw. Again, these are long screws, and I'll get that all the way in there. And that is how easy it is to attach this to what we've just created on here. Perfect. See, that's in place. Now the other side of this is going to be fitting into what we just put in here. I think it goes on top. Let me double check. No, this part here is actually going on the bottom, and an IM screw is going through the top. So I've got an IM screw here. Let's just line that up and get that into place. That's one side done. And then what we've done on one side, we're going to do exactly the same on the other side here. So this one is going to go in this way. Put this onto this part of the wheel and use one of the big screws to attach this into place. And then finally, once again, an screw on this side here through the top, making sure that bar is sitting underneath this section, and get that screwed in. So now that is fully connected to the steering system. It is a simple steering system here, but when I turn this, what it's going to do is pull this through, and as you can see, it's turning the wheels, which is quite clever. Excellent. Now I need to fix those parts from the underside, so I'm turning them upside down. You see I've got two holes here. These are for LM screws, and I'm just going to be piecing these in here. So one this side, and one the other side just over here. Very cleverly gone together, that has. And that is all there is to do in that stage. So in stage 19, leaf spring time again. This time we're going to do the rear ones. Put all of that to one side and bring over what we've been working on here. And as you can see, we've got the two holes here ready for some brackets to go in. The first bracket I want on this side is going to be the one with the curved end. And I'm putting that in with two CM screws. Now, the one that looks like a triangle is actually going to go down this end here. You guessed it, it's going to be CM screws again. Please just take it for granted that I am putting these in oil. We do need to make sure that it's overhanging the inside, so there is a direction for this to go. Hopefully you can see that on the top camera. There's a lip in there. Excellent. Okay, from the internal side, I've got this U-shaped bolt which is going to go in the longer side all the way through that one there. And then I've got a bracket to put on the other side, which is going to go on just like this to connect both of these parts together like that. So I'm holding these in with a CM screw. There you go. Perfect. So that's one side in. And then with the leaf spring here, I want the one with the larger hole. It's got a smaller hole at this end. And I'm going to be putting that onto this end just here, like that. Folding this up to keep it into place, and then securing it once again with a CM screw just through the side here. So that leaf spring is now attached on that side, which means on the other side here it's going to be fitting into this bracket that I put in here. This time I need a GM screw, long screw this one, and that's going to go all the way through this side here. Make sure it comes through the other side, and there we go, that's in place. So that's all there is to do in that stage. In stage 20, we've got the leaf spring now for the other side. So very similar to last time. Once again, I'm going to be putting the curved one bracket here. Let's open these CM screws up just on the front there, and attaching them with two screws. Then this triangular piece just going on here, and again making sure it's the way round so that there's a lip on the inside. So it needs to be that way for mine. That's held in with CM screws. Once again, the longer one of these bolts are going to go through there. Load up a CM screw because I've got to put a bracket on this. Just going to go in this way, so I can attach that here. That's going to be going in here, and then I'm closing that off once again with a CM screw to hold that into place. So put this end in and over here, and then once again a GM screw, which is going to go through this side, Now hold the leaf spring in on this side here. Whoops, make sure it goes through the hole. There we go, perfect. And there you go. So with that in place, that's the other leaf spring done. That's all there is to do in that stage. In the penultimate pack, in stage 21, I'm going to be fitting the rear axle now. This should be quite a quick stage, this one. Now I do need to identify sides. This has got a little R in the corner, and this one's got an L, so I know what my left and right is. So what I'm going to do is I want the right one first. This is labelled as 21C in the instructions here. Now I want it this way round, and it's going to go on this side, because obviously when the car's turned over, that's now the right side. Once again, I have got the long screw here, which I'm pushing all the way through the top. So it comes out the bottom there. Then I'm going to be attaching this section here to actually screw that into place. Now I need to make sure that this is in the right way. So I want this to be going in like this here. So the larger area here is on this side. Line this up and get this screwed in. Perfect. And what I've done on one side, I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Perfect. And with that in place, that is the rear axle in place, you can see there. So all we're going to do in the last stage is we're going to be fitting the rear shocks. And just like last time, I'm going to be taking these sections here, having them this way round, and I'm going to be screwing them in with a PM screw. So there you go, that's in there. And then once again, I'm dropping a black spring into the top. And I'm going to take one of these rods from the shock absorber and an FM screw, ensuring I'm putting this in the right way. They didn't give that level of detail in the instructions before, so I think I might have to change the ones I did on this side here. I think the flat side needs to be facing out. As you can see, it's a dead easy fix. It makes more sense having them the other way around, because obviously with the screw, you wouldn't have that big a screw. It will actually make this flush. I'm glad the pictures are a little bit more clearer in this stage, so hopefully if you're building along with me, you are watching the whole video first. I'm just going to have a bad time. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm going to quickly just do the one on this side as well. So let me just put that one in. So both the shocks are now in place on this side, which actually means they're all in on the other side as well. Good lot of suspension there, I like that. I've got some tiny details here, which I'm going to be working on. So I've got a cap first, which is going into the top part of this section here. Just seeing how this fits. It is a D-shaped pattern in this, so it can only go in one way, and that's in there. This is then going to be going on top of this bracket here. If you push that cap in enough, you should have enough to actually plug it in there. So now it looks like that. I've got a little pipe to put in the cap here. It's just going to go down the top. It's rigid, it's not like it's a rubber pipe, this one. There you go. So it's coming out the bottom just a little bit like that. And I need that little bit because this is actually going to be sitting on top of this part here. There you go. That's in like that. And with that little module complete, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. So we do have these little fiddly bits here, which I'm going to have to put in my storage box. And obviously we've worked on the large chassis here. And that chassis is large, for international unit of measure here. That's how that's looking. But I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.